rather than, finding a job somewhere and adapting yourself, we don't ask people to do things they don't like to do. If you're not comfortable in the back of a truck, well, we're not going to leave you in the back of the truck.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, Moving Picture Technicians, Artists, and Allied Crafts of the United States, its territories, and Canada, IATSE, was founded in 1893 and today represents more than 150,000 working people in virtually all arts, media, and entertainment crafts. Bob McManus is the vice president for IATSE Local 900 and vice president for the North Alabama Labor Council here in Huntsville. Bob, thanks for taking the time to join us this morning. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jacob. I want to thank you and Adam for having me on the show. I always say the biggest benefit of a union offers workers is a voice, and you guys are certainly amplifying ours right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're really happy to have you on. Been wanting to do it for a while, and your new contract is a good reason to have you on. Before we get into that, though, can you talk to us about your your background, like how long you've been in IATSE, what got you involved, why is it such like a big part of your life?
Well, for us, our union is almost like a guild. We get all our work through the union, and we rely on the union to train people and to forward our crafts. So it becomes a part of your life immediately when you become a stagehand, and it all the benefits that the union offers. It's just for me. It's always been, I guess, what you might call the fun part of work. I got involved in unions very early. When I was in college, I studied business at the Citadel, and I became familiar with unions then, and just kind of got involved in the cause, and just really jumped on board when I became a stagehand. It's a great way of life. We strive off the things that the union offers us, and it's just a great way of life. You guys are all, I'm sure, aware of that.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and that's part of why we're glad you're on the show this morning, just to share your testimony, because I think that's always important to hear from folks who've been involved in unions about what motivated them and how the union has helped their life and benefited their family.
For me, in college, I was in a very conservative business environment, our business school, and most of us were developing negative attitudes towards unions based on the things that our instructors were teaching us. But I had the good fortune.
So wait, you didn't have like crazy liberal Marxist professors in college?
Just one.
There's always at least one. I mean, that's fine.
It only takes one, right? We did have one professor who allowed us to speak, and but for me, I met an old lady one night who had a really bad scar on her shoulder, which matches one of mine. I broke my collarbone one time. It was very painful, and I asked her how it happened, and she told me a story that just blew my mind. She was working in a mill in South Carolina, and union organizers came down, and she went out and met with a few of the union organizers and basically got accosted by the Pinkertons and beat up and left for dead. And she changed my attitude about unions that night, and it's I've been pushing for that cause ever since. I mean, when she described the way the Pinkertons were handling the union in the 40s, I just never got over that. You know what I mean? I knew what side I was on, clearly. Mm-hmm. So, the opportunity that IATSE gave me was the opportunity to take that, the passion that developed that day and go forward with it. And we always take every opportunity we get to spread good news, and really that's why I'm on the show today. We are having success here in Huntsville, and we are proving to the city and our other employers, how valuable the unions can be.
Yeah, well, let's shift to the to the local situation here with the Stagehands. Y'all have like about 100 members around here, right?
Yeah, we're getting close to that. As soon as we get Adam and a few others on board, we will be at 100. We got a membership drive that's coming up because, like a lot of locals, we're having a labor shortage. The pandemic left us completely out of work for over a year and a half because we just couldn't have events in an environment like that. But we're coming back really strong. We have several new contracts, which we're just absolutely thrilled with. Most importantly, with the Von Braun Center, which has been our primary employer since around 1976. But really, for the first time that I'm aware of, a city entity has recognized the value and effectiveness of the union model. We also got, we went to visit this week, and we're signing a new contract with the Orion Amphitheater, which is a beautiful new facility. We've been over there touring twice, and we're getting ramped up for shows. They're going to have an amazing schedule starting this summer.
Oh yeah,
and
fantastic.
We're also getting calls from Toyota Field. So, we went from having no work at all during the pandemic and to where we are now, which is just total, shortage of labor on hand.
Right. Yeah, well, talk the way that y'all, so the way that y'all operate is more like a trade union than a lot of folks are, like most folks are used to. They have one employer and they go every day, and can you talk to us about like how your jobs are kind of allocated and your contractors, and how do stagehand union members in Huntsville get work?
Okay, yeah, that's it is a unique model. It's called a referral hall, and the IATSE runs a referral hall here in Huntsville. Some people refer to it as a hiring hall, but basically, this is a right to work state, so union members and non-union members all go into the same pool. And when we get requests for labor, we choose, the individuals on that list who have the most experience or who are the best suited for the job. And then that's how job assignments are made. So, for example, this afternoon, I'm doing a show for Graham Nash at the Mars Music Hall. They needed a small crew, a steward, and 4 hands to get a small band in there. And so, we go to the list and we look at the best available, and we assign them, to those positions, and then the list rotates. So, so that each member and each referral, gets positions as they become available. Right. And Adam's come to work for us here recently a little bit, and he's looking at it from one end, and I'm looking at it from the other. He may have a perspective of what it's like to be a stagehand at his level too. It's hard work sometimes, but it's also.
Yeah, well, talk to us about the actual the work that you do. People a lot of times, they go to shows, and I don't think that they really appreciate how much work actually goes into putting these things together and how dangerous it can actually be. Talk to us about some of the work that y'all are doing and going to be doing at the VBC and the Orion Amphitheater and Toyota Field and stuff like that.
Okay, well, we have different departments. All of our, for example, our union is what's called a mixed local. We have all the skill sets covered under one local. On an average show, for example, Adam is pushing cases in, and I'm what I do. I'm a rigger. I take the all that heavy equipment, the lights, the sound, and everything, and we hang it from the ceiling. And by that, I mean, we physically climb up into the ceiling, we lower a rope down, and we pull chains up, and we hang all that equipment. Most of your listeners probably are aware of the halftime show at the Super Bowl. It took 600 stagehands. It took 600 people working behind the scenes to get that show in and get it on and get it back out the door, all during beer commercials. So,
Right.
it was, so
It's amazing.
That's a good example of what we do. Locally, what we do basically is we bring them in the morning. 6 trucks roll in for the average show. We unload those 6 trucks. We put all that stuff, we hang it from the ceiling, 60, 80,000 pounds worth of lights, trusses, speakers, that kind of thing. And then we have a show. And, if it's Elton John, it's really big. If it's Reba, it's absolutely huge. But if it's Graham Nash, it's me and 4 other guys and, a couple of gals, and we get it in and we get it out in the same amount of time. So how dangerous can it be? Well, it can be extremely dangerous. There's a lot of heavy equipment moving all the time. There's forklifts driving around. There's guys like me up in the ceiling who are scared to death of dropping something. But the show must go on, and it almost always does.
Right. Well, we had David is in the chat, and he asked, to speak about the quality of the performances and how IATSE labor affects that, because and you mentioned that the city and the VBC and all these people are kind of starting to realize the value that having the good union labor on these performances, the value that y'all provide. Just can you talk to us about why why they're seeing that value and how your work does affect the quality of shows? David said that he's never been to a bad performance at the VBC ever, and that's because of course because of the performing artists, but because of all the prep work that y'all do too.
Oh, absolutely. It all comes down to training. It comes down to enjoying the work that you're doing. One of the things that the union is very good at is recognizing skills in individuals and promoting those skills, which is what makes us so effective. Rather than, finding a job somewhere and adapting yourself to that job, we kind of get behind people and push. And it's a model that works very well with creative people. We don't ask people to do things they don't like to do. If you're not comfortable in the back of a truck, well, we're not going to leave you in the back of the truck. We'll find something else for you to do.
Right.
The reason why unions are more effective, quite simply, at what we do is because of the way we train our people and the way we promote their best interest at all times. And so if I'm not scared of heights and, I like being up in the ceiling, well, that's where I'm going to be. We call, everybody has what they call their happy place. And that's, we refer to it as such. And if everybody's standing in their happy place, then the show is going to be much better than if, it. So to answer David's question, it's quite simply, it's the way we train our people and it's the way we promote their interest.
Yeah, and I can testify to that too, having started working there a little bit and still very green, but I got to say the team environment that is there makes such a difference. Everybody's looking out for each other. If you're still learning things, folks are great to show you the ropes, literally and figuratively, and I think that makes such a huge difference. And I got to say how much I enjoy doing the work. And you're right, Jacob. The amount of labor that goes into these performances, whether it's rock bands or the Broadway Theater League shows that you hear about, or even just some of the expos that happen down at the VBC, it's amazing. It is amazing to see truckloads of crates become an elaborate set. It's amazing to see what our workers can do, and I think it's a different style of workplace. The all in as a team model, and I got to say I really enjoy it. So for folks out there, and I'm sure y'all are going to get to this, but if there's folks locally who are interested in picking up some work, check it out. I enjoy it a lot. It can be physically demanding. I know I've been sore in places. I haven't been sore in a long time, but it's so cool to see the start to finish. It's an amazing experience. So, can only echo Bob's comments there.
Yeah, and talk to us about the new contract. You've got this new contract with the VBC, and you're working on, sounds like, a contract with Toyota Field and Orion. And you said that you've been able to get this new contract because they are beginning to kind of recognize the value that y'all bring to the table. What is in this new contract that's better than the one you had before? And talk to us about that.
Okay, well, basically, here in Huntsville, that we've always been some of the lowest paid stagehands in the nation. In fact, the Southeast as a whole has always lagged behind, and Chattanooga and Huntsville were always just at the bottom of that list. We managed now to get a contract that is very similar to contracts in Birmingham, Atlanta, Nashville, and other places, which basically offer a living wage, or what we consider to be closer to a living wage than we had before. As you know, companies like Amazon have spent billions of dollars convincing the general public that $15 an hour is a living wage. We introduced that as a starting point for a discussion, but now it seemed to become this standard that's a living wage. But anyone who's ever tried to live on $15 an hour can tell you that it's not. We now start around $19, $20 an hour, and we go up from there depending on your skill set and that kind of thing. But where we are now is basically in line with the rest of the Southeast, which, still lags behind the rest of the nation when it comes to our earning potential. But we at least feel like now we have protections in the workplace that we haven't had before. We have, under this new contract, we have a bigger hand in safety in the workplace, which, as you know, unions are champions in that arena. It's so much easier for me to stand up there and preach safety than it is for someone who has to sign the checks, or someone who never on the stage. Like a lot of places, you have managers who are making decisions on safety who don't partake in the daily activities, and
may have never
that's
done
where
the
unions
work.
come in. I mean, we should take the lead. We should take the lead in those areas, but we face the same problems that all unions face. And you know better than we do that all labor unions are under assault with policies across the nation undermining workers' collective bargaining rights, stripping union workers of wages, benefits, stuff we deserve. And like all union folks, it's our job to fight to strengthen the federal labor laws and protect the right to organize. And for unions, we have the right to organize and bargain for higher wages and better benefits. And for us, that's becoming a reality.
Yeah, that's great. What were you about to say, Adam?
Well, I think as Huntsville, pivots to being a big entertainment city here in the Southeast and bringing in, a music industry presence here, I think it really, it's such a great timing to see this because, all these fantastic shows that are coming into Huntsville over the next year, great artists. I mean, some of my favorite bands, I think, you name any genre and there's a good group coming through. But I think it's important that it be good union labor that is putting these shows on, and that the folks who are putting these shows on can live a good life and have the safety and wages they deserve. So it's right on time.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Bob, we really appreciate your time. If this sounds interesting, let's say there's a listener out there that's like, oh man, starting at $19 an hour, prepping for shows at the VBC, the Orion Amphitheater, the Toyota Field. That sounds interesting. Maybe I want to do that. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can call our business agent at 256-690-1622. Her name is Kelly, and she will take your information and hopefully start you down the path like that I went on and Adam is on now. It's a great way to make a living, and it's a great bunch of folks to work with.
Awesome. Bob, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jacob. See you later.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.